All right, let's get this regular meeting going. Let's proceed to announcements, but I need a motion to close the closed meeting session we were in beforehand. Councillor Zant, just be it resolved that the closed meeting be terminated so that we may revert back to the regular meeting, seconded by Councillor Caldarelli. Some directives had been given. Announcements. Do you have any announcements? Councillor Lalonde, Mr. Simard, or Mr. Bouchard? Mr. Zant, well, I'll keep them for later. I have an announcement. The Optimist Club will be hosting an event at the community center in Bourget this coming Sunday. There was also the soirée de partage, this evening of sharing. How much was collected? Yeah, well, it was a nice show and the room was full. I know they were very happy with the amount that they'd received. Part of that was shared in between Bourget and Rockland. So it was a great success. And let's not forget, this coming Sunday, it's going to be Santa Claus Parade at 4:30 in Rockland. This coming Sunday at 4:30, Santa Claus Parade in Rockland. I believe that we're all ready. We'll have about 50 floats involved. Candy's been purchased also for children. Everything's nice. And great publicity around it too, so it should be quite an event. Let's go on to question period. Questions need to deal with any items appearing on the agenda tonight and nothing more than that. If you have any questions, step up to the mic, give your name and your address, and we will hear you out. None? That's fine. Then let's go on now to members' items. There are none. Consent items. Are there any items you'd like to withdraw from the usual list of consent items before us? Councillor Levert, is there one? I believe 11.2 or 11.3. I'm sorry, 12.1. I apologize, Mr. Mayor. That's under bylaws. Yeah, but we're still under consent items here. We're still dealing with consent items. We'll deal with your wish to withdraw the one bylaw later on. So why don't you read the consent items, Councillor Levert? All right. Oh my God, I have quite a list here. Be it resolved, Mr. Mayor, that the following items listed in this section of the agenda will be of the 19th of November be adopted. 10.1 Adoption of the minutes of the following meetings. Meetings of the Committee of the Whole, October 22nd. Minutes of the regular meeting, October 28th. Committee of the Whole meeting, October the 28th. Budget meeting, November 5th. Budget meeting November 6th. And budget meeting November 7th. Also, the receipt of the minutes of the following meetings. Committee of Adjustment, September 25th. Also, the following recommendations from Committee of the Whole of October 28, 2019, resolution to approve a project change of the Roland Lalonde Community Center, and a resolution to convene a special meeting on January 15, 2020 to start the consultation process for the 5-year review of the official plan of the urban area. C. Resolution to adopt the 2020 meetings calendar. 10.4 Resolution to appoint a member to the Environment Advisory Committee. 10.5 Resolution to adopt the salaries paid from September 22nd, 2019 to November the 2nd, 2019 in the gross amount of $1,319,645.38 and net amount $935 million or $935,596.94. And 10.6 Resolution to adopt the tax reductions in the amount of $1,548.46 City's share, being applications under sections 357 and 58 of the Municipal Act. Seconded by Councillor Bouchard. 11.1 this time around, accounts paid. Be resolved that the accounts paid for the period in between the 21st October to the 11th of November, the amount of $1,619,000 and 65 cents be adopted as recommended. Seconded by Councillor Levard. Any questions? Um, line item 17, Mr. Mayor, concerning road patching work. Does this also involve all of those roads involved, or those that they've forgotten to do also? Only those that have been done. Those that have not yet been done still await payment. But I believe that there are two spots today that have not been done yet, two stretches. When will they be done? I don't have an exact date, but in the coming days, I believe we'll be doing our best to finalize this whole project. Also, another item, well, line item 34 for Jean-Luc. We have a contract with a company to perform work on the Potvin Park, and we rented equipment from another company that does not have any contract. Yes, we had to do so because we didn't have the proper equipment to do some work. What happened was that this particular project, well, they needed soil to finalize work involved, and we had the need to remove the soil that was there when we sold off the property beside the ATG complex. We needed to remove that soil. So the contractor held the contract concerning the work to be performed in the park, and we'd asked for the price, and the price was a bit higher, so we had this work performed by, well, in-house if you wish, and really it was better to proceed that way for the city of Clarence and Rockland, to bring the soil from one place to another, and the contractor that had the contract to perform the work in the park used that soil to do what needed to be done. Is it all done now? Yes. We and the owner has made a grand tour of the area, and what needed to be resolved was resolved then. Fine. Any other questions? All those in favor? Carried. Adoption of Ontario Regulation 28409. Councillor Simard, would it be possible to consider after the adoption of 12.1, Mr. Mayor, because both are interrelated, or are related if you wish? Well, fine. Let's go on now to the Municipal Modernization Program. Do you want to deal with 12.1 right away? Well, we can deal with 11.3 right now. 11.2 is tied to another item. I believe that 11.3, the resolution was forwarded to you tonight. This appears on your desk. Fine. So 11.3. Whereas Council mandates the administration to submit an application for the Municipal Modernization Program in order to oversee funding to undertake expenditure reviews with the goal of finding service delivery efficiencies and lowering costs in the longer term. Be resolved that we submit a financing request to obtain sufficient financing to implement revision expenditures with a goal of offering delivery of services and lowering costs in the longer term, and be resolved to obtain 3 estimates from companies that would be in a position to professionally complete this request for grants in a short delay, and may we allow a cost of $10,000 to prepare a request for grants. Yes. So what happened? Fine. Seconded by Councillor Bouchard. There are a lot of grants coming out right now. That's right. So
we have a $50,000 base budget for the contingency, and we've spent to date about $20,000. And we always protect that money towards year's end, so there's still 30,000 in the contingency. Correct, it's 2019 and it's one-time money. It's just we exhausted a lot of resources doing the community hub application, and this one, as you can see, within a month we have to have this application completed and submitted.
That's fine. All those in favor? Carried. Then, item 12.1, 2019-104 to adopt the budget. Mr. Boucher. Well, what you can do, Mr. Mayor, is to vote for resolutions with regards to bylaws and remove item 12.1 for the purpose of considering it afterwards, or to consider one bylaw after another. I ask that 12.1 be withdrawn at present. So you've voted on 11.3 and we wanted to deal with 11.2. Well, 11.2 is after 12.1. I'm in bylaws right now, much as you are, Mr. Mayor, but you have resolutions by consent for those items. And so I understand what you're saying. Let's go on to bylaws. Are there any bylaws you'd like to withdraw? Yes, Mr. Mayor. Item 12.1. Fine. Could you please read the others, Mr. Cardarelli? Please. Item 2 or resolution 12.2 and 12.3. Be resolved that the following bylaws be adopted. Item 12.2 to bylaw 2019-105 to adopt the interim tax 2020, and item 12.3, Mr. Mayor, bylaw 2019-106 to purchase a parcel of land for the snow dump. Seconded by Councillor Lalonde. Any questions? All those in favor? No questions then. Let's go on now to item 12.1. Mr. Dunoyer, do you want to tackle 11.2 first? Well, 12.1, Mr. Zant, please. Be resolved that bylaw 2019-104 to adopt the 2020 budget be adopted. Seconded by Councillor Bouchard. All those in favor? Carried. Well, I just wanted to reopen the initial discussion we had during the course of our budgetary talks concerning the mayor's salary. I don't know if the mayor wishes. Do you wish that the mayor leave the room or not? I'm not. I don't mind, one way or the other. Well, I just want to discuss the mayor's salary, that's all. All right, well, fine. Well, all right. Well, it'll be broadcast on TV in any event. Fine. Well, we'd spoken about a fairly hefty increase. I'd suggest an increase of $10,000 for the remainder of the mayor's term, and I discussed this with Philip, and we could take this from a particular fund. Well, you were to decide, but you can take surplus money from the road reserve fund to offset the mayor's shortfall with regard to salary, the shortfall in salary. Well, that's fine. It wouldn't bother anyone. It's a bit bizarre because we're talking about your salary, Mr. Mayor. I owe you a great deal of respect. You weren't in attendance the last time we discussed this, but we talked about what the position should be, what payment should be attached to this particular position. Of course, I was told that I did not have the right to address this matter by the deputy mayor, but that's the question that we're asking today. We're just wondering the following: is the mayor's position warrants an increase or not? And that's the only question that I have with regard to it. It's not because I don't want to give you money. I know that the mayor was not in attendance last week. I believe, Mr. Mayor, that you do extraordinary work. But is the mayor's position ought to be paid more than it is being paid at present? Be open, folks. You see, the problem with this that I had was that it was thrown at us willy-nilly, if you wish. There was no explanation or justification, save and apart from the fact that you were constantly at the office, and I believe that everybody's aware of that. It's not a secret that you put in a lot of hours in what you need to do and you have to do. I know that the amount that was offered to me was not all that great. Well, you see, Mr. Mayor, I understand. We didn't have any comparables. We didn't have any explanation as to other tasks you were required to accomplish, and you'd put in more hours than you ought to. We'd supported $54,000, but there was, sometimes we have some very cursory reports, but what we obtained explanation-wise was very cursory. Well, why don't you ask for comparisons? If you wish us to revisit it during the course of the next budget, that's fine, but we have to take a look at what other mayors are being paid elsewhere. And I agree what Mr. Zant is saying also. What is a mayor's worth? And that's a thorny issue because there's nobody that can throw out a figure in the ring like that. Well, I didn't want to throw out a figure like that. Further to my discussions with town administrator, often the administrator or department head's tasks are shared with the mayor, and that saves time for the administrators to spend more. Well, that allows administrators to spend more time on different files they're called upon to tackle. But we're talking about $54,000. No, I'm just talking about a $10,000 increase. I'm thinking about what Mr. Sant is saying also. If we take a look at the individual, the mayor, and the number of hours that he's putting in there, does what he does warrant a higher salary? Who knows? Well, if we had another mayor, and if you decide that Punta Cana is a very nice place during the wintertime and you decide to reside there on a year-long basis, that would be another matter. But maybe that person would not put in as many hours. But now we are, we I don't want to wind up with a mayor that's overpaid either. So it changes also, it modifies a lot of parameters. People voted for a mayor given that this was a full-time or part-time position. If the mayor's position becomes a full-time position, well, it changes a lot of concerns or modifies a lot of concerns. And it might compel a lot of individuals that might want uh, to position himself or herself to try out for mayor. We should take a look at salary caps that are being paid to other mayors and that could be implemented during the next mayoral mandate that needs to be filled to win the next election. I'm not comfortable right now to discuss this at the very beginning of the second mandate. The mayor will be called upon to fulfill. I also am in agreement with my fellow councilors. This mandate was given to an individual that occupies mayor's position on a part-time basis. Positions would need to be redefined then, and that's another matter altogether. I don't think that we should ponder whether or not the mayor works harder or not. This is a choice that Mr. Mayor makes. He knows that when he applied, the salary was paid out given the expectations of a part-time position. There's maybe a way to get around this by paying a bit more to department heads to perform overtime hours, but I don't think it's appropriate at this point in time of your mandate to modify completely the nature of your mandate, Mr. Mayor, and the payment received thereby. All right. And just to wrap things up, I was not asking a salary for a full-time mayor. Well, we're just wondering if what you were requesting with regard to a mayor's salary was for a full-time basis. I was not asking for $87,000 here. I just wanted to ask an additional $10,000 more. I just wanted to clarify this. Well, if we had comparables, Mr. Mayor, I'd be a bit more comfortable in taking a look at the situation to situate ourselves as to where we are with other mayors that are being paid either on a full-time or part-time basis. But given that you're into your second mandate, well, Are you in favor of looking at comparables during the next round of budgetary talks? Comparables? And we'll tackle that then. Fine. I would ask Councilor Leval to come up with a motion. Yes, the motion is that we'll come up with comparables concerning salaries paid to mayors in the surrounding area on a full-time and part-time basis. Fine. So you have a resolution, item 12.1, mandating that we adopt the 2020 budget. All those in favor of adopting the 2020 budget? All those in favor? Carried. Fine. Let's go on now to item 11.2. Be it resolved that the report prepared in keeping with the Ontario Regulation 284-09 annual report concerning the 2020 budget as set out in FIN report 2019-136. Mr. Desnoyers, do you have anything else to say? I know that you like to say a few words because this is quite interesting reading. Well, let me just add a bit of a independent explanation each and every year, Mr. Mayor. The auditor firm that we've hired comes up with a report. Now, the budget is a cash audit, if you wish, or a case audit, and the audit performed by the auditors is an audit based on other principles. Well, see, the report was linked to the figures that were appearing in the budget, and if the budget was not approved tonight, this report could not be approved because there were modifications performed on the initial report. Fine. All those in favor then? Carried. Confirmatory bylaw. Be it resolved that bylaw 2019-103 be deemed a confirmatory bylaw for the regular meeting of Town Council held on the 18th of November. Seconded by Councillor Caldarelli. All those in favor? Adjournment called at 7:35. Thank you.